Boxing fans in Las Vegas got exactly what they came for on a packed Cinco de Mayo weekend, and honestly, the energy inside the T-Mobile Arena felt like something special from the very first bell. This wasn't just another fight night. It was a full-scale showcase of Mexican boxing pride, rising stars, and a main event that delivered exactly the kind of chaos and dominance fans had been expecting. All eyes were on David Benavidez, a fighter who has built a reputation as one of the most dangerous men in boxing today. Even though he was born in Phoenix, Arizona, his Mexican roots have always been a huge part of his identity in the ring. And on this night, he stepped in with that same intensity, that same pressure style, and that same message he's been sending for years. He's not here to play around. Across from him stood Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, the WBA and WBO cruiserweight champion, a fighter with real experience and real power of his own. It was a scheduled 12-round battle, but from the opening moments, it didn't take long to feel like the pace was going to belong to one man only. Benavidez came out aggressive but controlled, walking Ramirez down with confidence and landing heavy shots early. The crowd could feel the momentum shifting almost instantly. Ramirez tried to stay composed, tried to establish his rhythm, and for a brief moment in the early rounds, he showed glimpses of resistance, especially as he managed to remain on his feet through the second round under serious pressure. But the story of this fight was never really about surviving rounds. It was about who could impose their will longer, and that's where Benavidez started to separate himself. As the fight moved into the middle rounds, Ramirez attempted to adjust, firing back with cleaner counters and trying to slow the pace. There were moments where he landed solid shots that caught Benavidez clean, giving fans a reminder that this was a world champion standing across from him. But every time Ramirez tried to build momentum, Benavidez answered with something heavier, something sharper, something that shifted the energy right back in his direction. By the fourth round, the damage was starting to show. Benavidez had already opened up visible wear on Ramirez, and the pressure wasn't slowing down. It was constant forward movement, sharp combinations, and a level of physical intensity that Ramirez simply couldn't fully escape from. And then came the turning point. In the sixth round, everything came to a sudden stop. Benavidez unleashed a brutal sequence of punches that forced the referee to step in and wave the fight off. It was a technical knockout, and it was decisive. No controversy, no debate, just one fighter overwhelming another with pure force and volume. The Mexican monster had done it again. The arena erupted, and for Benavidez, it was more than just another win. It was another statement in a career that keeps pushing him closer to the biggest names in the sport. And he didn't waste any time after the fight ended. Still in the ring, still breathing in the energy of a dominant victory, Benavidez turned his attention to the biggest target in boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez. That name has followed him for years now. Fans have debated it, promoters have teased it, and analysts have broken it down from every angle since around 2021. But every time Benavidez wins like this, the conversation only gets louder. The demand only grows stronger. This time was no different. The message was clear. He wants Canelo next, and he wants it on the biggest stage possible. What made this performance even more interesting was the way Benavidez controlled the fight from start to finish. He walked into the arena with full confidence, wearing trunks inspired by the Mexican flag and entering to traditional regional music that set the tone for a fighter embracing both his identity and the pressure of expectation. From the first bell, he dictated where the fight would happen. He didn't chase moments. He created them. Ramirez, for his part, showed heart. He stayed in the fight longer than many expected and tried to turn things around after a difficult opening stretch. There were moments where he landed clean punches that reminded everyone why he held championship status in the first place. But against a fighter like Benavidez, those moments weren't enough to shift control. What stood out out most was Benavidez's physical condition and composure. Even when Ramirez landed clean counters, Benavidez didn't slow down. He didn't panic. He didn't change his approach. Instead, he kept applying pressure, cutting off the ring, and forcing exchanges where he always seemed to land the heavier shots. By the time the fight reached its conclusion in the 6th round, it felt inevitable. The referee stepping in wasn't a surprise. It was the natural ending to a fight where one man had clearly taken over. After the win, attention quickly shifted to what comes next. And this is where things get even more interesting for boxing fans. Canelo Alvarez was reportedly present at the T-Mobile Arena, and that alone added fuel to the already burning speculation about a potential future showdown. But while fans may be dreaming about that fight happening soon, the reality is a bit more complicated. Canelo is currently linked to ongoing discussions for other major bouts, including a reported matchup with Christian Mbili, possibly set for September 12th in Saudi Arabia. That fight would take place in the super middleweight division and is already generating early buzz in boxing circles. Meanwhile, Benavidez is not slowing down either. After adding a cruiserweight world title to his resume, he has made it clear that his long-term focus is moving into the light heavyweight division. His eyes are now set on champions like Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, two of the most technically and physically dominant fighters in that weight class. Those potential matchups are not expected immediately, but fans are already circling late 2026 or even 2027 as possible windows for those mega fights to happen. What makes Benavidez so intriguing right now is that he seems willing to chase challenges across multiple divisions. He's not staying in one place. He's building momentum, stacking performances, and pushing toward the biggest possible names available. And this victory over Ramirez only strengthened that narrative. Of course, the night in Las Vegas wasn't just about the main event. The entire card delivered action from top to bottom, reinforcing the idea that Mexican boxing continues to produce depth and talent across multiple divisions. In the co-main event, Jaime Munguia finally broke through after years of setbacks, reclaiming a version of a super middleweight title with a unanimous decision victory over Jose Armando Resendiz after a full 12 rounds. It was a hard-fought win and a meaningful one, especially as Munguia continues to rebuild momentum under the guidance of Eddie Reynoso and the Canelo team. That win also opens new doors for him, with speculation already pointing toward a possible appearance on Canelo's upcoming Middle East fight card. Earlier in the night, fans saw a series of competitive and explosive bouts that kept the energy high. Oscar Duarte edged out Toshiro Fierro in a split decision, while Ismael Flores secured a clean win over Isaac Lucero. Daniel Blancas delivered a statement knockout against Raul Salomon, and Dylan Castillo controlled his fight against James Pierce to earn a unanimous decision. Juan Carrillo also closed out his bout with a knockout victory over Marlon Delgado. Each fight added to the overall atmosphere of a night that felt like a celebration of boxing talent rather than just a single main event showcase. But despite all the action on the undercard, the spotlight always circled back to David Benavidez. Because nights like this don't just build records, they build momentum, narratives, and pressure for the fights fans actually want to see. And right now, the biggest question in boxing is simple. After a dominant stoppage win like this, and with Canelo Alvarez still in the conversation, who will be the one to finally stand across from the Mexican monster when it really matters?